You need to read this book before you forget how to read.
Welcome to The Big Puzzle. In this podcast, we explore the subtle connections between science, religion, politics, economics, and history. One piece at a time, we unveil the big picture of this shared experience that we call life.
Let's go back a few millennia to the floodplains of the Nile in Egypt. Now let's imagine that you are the child in a wealthy family. So you don't need to spend time, working the fields or cutting stone for the pyramid or anything like that. You just, hang around. And there's not much to see, so it's kind of boring. So what you end up doing is you start looking at the sky, the clouds and the sun, the moon, the stars. And, you notice something interesting. You notice that every 28 days, the moon, gets dark. You get a new moon. But that's not the only thing that you notice. You notice that every time that happens, the moon is during the day. It's in the sky during the day. And is closer or farther from the sun. But it's also always around the sun. So after a few months, you start trying to calculate where the moon will be the next time that you get a new moon. And it's kind of, you remember the DVD logo, guessing when it's going to hit the corner. At some point, you get pretty good at that. That's the thing you do the whole day. So you kind of say, okay, yeah, I see next month it will be here, next month it will be here. And then you realize, well, next month it will be over the sun, right? And that happens. And you witness your first eclipse. But you notice also that everybody's panicking around because of, the sun suddenly, went away. And since people are busy chipping the rocks or, or harvesting the crops, nobody noticed what you noticed. So for next time, you have a good idea. Say, okay, now I can predict when this happens. So how can I make that to my advantage? So next time, you start again looking at, where the moon will be next time compared to the sun. And when you figure out that there will be another of those events, of those eclipses, you call everybody. And you say that, the gods have called you as their high priest. And they want to tell you that if you don't obey whatever, then the sun will go away. The god sun, I don't know if it's Horus or which one in Egypt, he'll go away and he won't return until, people obey. And, some people believe you, some people don't believe you, but the day of the eclipse, you make a big deal about that. And, then you just look at the sun, look at the moon, and when the proper time comes, you just point and say something like, behold, right? And then, everything starts getting dark, people start panicking, and you point, very dramatically, and you talk to the gods, and you intercede for the people, and whatever. You get the idea. And eventually the sun comes back. So everybody is very grateful for you. And since people don't understand the, correlation doesn't imply causation, they start looking at you like you produced that or like you interceded with the gods. So that gives you a lot of power. But where does that power come from? Come from the fear of the people. You didn't just show something cool, something exciting. You show them something that produced fear for their lives, and something supernatural. So fear is really a good way to dominate people. I'm not saying anything new. And in another video we talk extensively about fear and love and anything in between, and how you can exert power. But the interesting thing is that the God that you presented is an angry God. It's I will call it a bully God, somebody who's going to threaten you and who's going to punish you, and you have to obey him because he's more powerful than you. Okay, you get the idea. Now let's move a few millennia closer, just a few centuries ago. And now we have the alchemist. So the alchemist is someone who, again, with some time on his hands, they figured out a few chemical tricks. Actually, chemistry comes from alchemy, so you randomly realize, if I mix this thing with this thing, so the resulting liquid turns blue, even though these two are transparent. So that becomes a very useful trick, magic trick. So you learn or discover a few of those, and then you go to the king and you say, hey king, I have powers, I control the elements, I'm wise, I'm a wizard, I'm whatever. And you show your tricks, and they go, oh wow. Obviously you don't know that this is tetrachlorate of whatever. You just say, oh, this is the water from the whatever divine source, and this is from hell, and then you go, whatever. Again, I hope you get the idea. But well, that's cool and everything. But people start, fearing you. Why? Because again, we all fear what we don't understand. Like people fear the eclipse because they don't understand it. They don't see the DVD logo moving. And they don't understand the things that you're showing. They can't do them themselves. They can't explain them, and that produces fear. But in this case, you use that fear to reassure people that you will be helping them with that power. And what best than to give them riches? I can turn this into riches for you. So one good way to do this is I can create gold for you, right? So what would you do? You would bring a bar of lead. Lead is heavy as gold. Now we know it's closer in the periodic table. It has some of the same attributes, right? So we bring lead. Say, you know what? I can transform this into gold. This bar of lead, that is 1 pound of lead, I will turn it into 1 pound of gold. And I've been working on this. I'm this close to produce it. And then the king said, oh, well, this will be really cool. I don't need to go to war to get some gold. I could fabricate it myself from the lead. We have plenty of that, right? So say, okay, what do you need? How can you do this? I say, well, I'm still figuring it out. I'm really, really close. It's around the corner, but I would need some gold because I need to buy some chemicals and some manure from the sacred cows of Tiberius, whatever. So I made my calculations. I will need 2 pounds of gold, to finish this test. But with that, you will be able to, start fabricating your own gold. So the king said, okay, yeah, bring 2 pounds of gold. There you are. So now you go there, you spend some time. A month later, you come to the king and say, king, huge success. Do you remember that bar of lead that I showed you last time? Oh, yeah. Well, here it is. And now it's gold. And you show them the bar of gold. And the king is, wow, this is incredible. And but I still need to figure out some other things. I'm even closer. I think these are the final steps. I think I can simplify it more, I can make it faster, I can make it cheaper. So, oh, look, I have also this other bar of lead. I could transform it as well into gold if you want. I will just need another 2 pounds of gold, right? The king, definitely, go for it. Bring some other gold, and the king goes away with his pound of gold, very excited about his future. How long can you keep the con going? Well, it depends on how gullible the king is. Now, there's a problem with the king that is illustrated in, the emperor's new clothes. Nobody's willing to tell him, this is stupid. You are stupid. So the king is isolated in his delusion, and it makes the work of the alchemist easier, right? To keep him always engaged. And they always have something else. Or next time I will only need 1.5 pounds of gold to create 1 pound of gold. So they manage the expectations and everything. So what does that have to do with this book? A lot. Because these examples that I put are not in the book, but are ideas that I had while reading it and while talking to Alessandro Parisi, the author of the book. And what I'm trying to say is that we are in a very similar situation. Alessandro explains very well. He talks about techno-chauvinists. For me, it's difficult to pronounce, so I will just call them technologists. Technologists became the new caste of high priests. And instead of representing Horus or Osiris or whoever, they just represent technology. And they sell technology as the savior. So salvation through technology. And he explains very well how some of these ideas come all the way from Hegel through Marx. So a lot of these things are socialism one-on-one, about communication. We're going to be talking a little about that. But it's basically that idea. We have some people who understand something that the general population don't understand, and they can use that to produce fear. And with that fear, it comes power. No, fear to what? Fear to damnation, to technological damnation, but they connect even to death, to physical death. And we're going to explain why. If you don't believe me, think about the guy that what I think about him. I say, oh, we need to become a multi-planetary species, because if not, we're doomed. And I explained 3-4 videos, I can't remember anymore, how Mars is not feasible. It's not and will never be, right? But it's not about Mars. It's not about the colony. It's about selling the fear, selling the idea. Give me your billions, right? That's the part of the sacrifice, part of the offering to the God technology. But again, this God is the bully God, the God that will punish you, right, if you don't obey him. So now we need to go even further back than the Egypt, and that is the story of the Tower of Babel. I think it's Babel, right? In English, Babel. So if you remember the story, the creation, Adam and Eve, their children, they start doing whatever. And the only way out is to destroy humanity and pretty much start over. Some people say, well, that's a vengeful God. Well, if you understand the purpose of this life, that actually God was preventing them from hurting themselves even more. So it was a mercy killing, if you will, of pretty much whole humanity, except him, Noah, his sons, and their families. So Noah and his family, they start repopulating the planet, the earth, but they start going in the same direction. And they start building a tower, believing that, they can overcome God. They can, build a tower to go to heaven without needing God. There's a lot of symbolism, but also there's some realism there. So what does God do? Well, he creates a confusion of the tongue. So everybody starts talking and they don't understand each other. And when they don't understand each other, what happens is that they start isolating. Now, that is the key. Remember, I was talking about the king and how the king was isolated because of, his majesty. But isolating people through miscommunication is much effective. So God used that, but the devil, as usual, was taking note and trying to use that to curse us, right? To make us miserable. And think about this, because now what we're experiencing has 100% to do with communication and isolation. And we're talking about LLMs or AI, artificial intelligence, even though there's zero intelligence in it. And read the book, and you will understand why it's not intelligence at all. But that's how we call it, and that's part of the language problem. So the LLMs are large language models that seem to be able to communicate. Now, there's been a lot of preparation in this divide and conquer. And if you're a conspiracy oriented, you might think, well, this is part of the same plan, because the language has been under attack a lot. Well, one of the most significant movies in the recent years was called What is a Woman? We're talking about Adam and Eve, and now we don't know what a woman is without entering into a circular definition. And the dumb thing is that people that go into a circular definition, they don't see it. They don't see the problem with that. So language has been under attack. It's a new Babel, but produced not by God, but by the enemy, that the adversary, Satan, the adversary. But LLMs make it even worse, because now we're not even talking to each other. If you go to LinkedIn or many other places, but I've been in LinkedIn quite a while recently, you see that very, very clearly. So people stopped writing. They just grab their LLMs, they give them a couple of prompts, mostly it's empty, they just say the same thing. So what I used to say is all the right words in the right order, say nothing. And then you have the comments, and the comments are also LLM. So all these people are not really talking to each other, they're having their LLMs talk to each other. Best case, they would summarize what the other person says. Summarize based on what? Who decides what's important? And when you summarize, you're losing the context, you're losing the hints, the subtleties, the irony. You lose everything. You just, become, like I also say, it's you summarize it. So you ask LLMs to summarize it until they're just grunts. So you can think about somebody, and then the LLM writes something, and then the other person, summarize this until it's, That's where we're going. But that is isolating us. We cannot communicate. And I've been calling out people in LinkedIn say, hey, that's very nice, what your LLM is saying. I wonder what you think about this. And some people say, yeah, okay, you caught me. Yeah. Some people try to justify, well, the ideas are mine, but LLM. Say, well, do you believe that you write worse than an LLM? You already gave up on yourself? But that is kind of the problem. Now, the other problem is the allure, because LLMs seem to be able to communicate and seem to be able to think about things. They don't. And again, go to Alessandro's book. But, like Arthur C. Clarke said, any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. So these LLMs are the new magic, are the new eclipses, are the new golden bars, right? And we have these high priests pointing at the LLM, right? Pointing at the sun. Hey, I have all this power here. Obey the bully god, right? And also you have them, well, AGI is around the corner. Give me your billions. Give me your billion, but this will return into trillions, quadrillions. We're going to be able to cure cancer. Don't you want to cure cancer? It's just a few $1 billion. What kind of evil person are you that you want to spend money, to cure cancer? They're not curing cancer. They cannot. They will not. Go to the book or think a little. I really hope that you still have some brain power. And this bully god is bullying people into obedience. And I can see a difference because one of the applications of LLMs is to writing code. So writing code is probably the best possible use of LLMs. Why? Because code is structured. It's always the same. Everything has been done at least once. There's nothing new in writing code. Right? And you train an LLM in all the code that you could find. So the LLM should be able to build based on all of that, because it's not about, imagination or hypothesis or abstraction. It's just about, okay, what is used here? Okay, this. What is used here? This. It should be the place where it works the best, and it does not. So if it does not work there, where will it work? Well, short answer, nowhere, right? Whatever you build using LLMs will range from annoying to deadly. And I'm serious about this. There's no case in which you could have certainty about something you build with LLM. So annoying, you're talking to a chatbot, and it eventually will send some BS, right? Or you could, implement an LLM to make decisions about your health, and then you get the wrong medication and you die. Utah, I'm talking to you. So it's interesting to me about this bully part and the fear part, because what these people with high priests are saying is this God, this AI is going to take your job, your livelihood. You're next in line. So the only salvation is to become part of the AI. Yeah, we can help you with that. Just give us your trillions and you can be an AI, whatever. And I see the difference in, experienced developers, people with 20 plus years of experience, that they see this is BS, right? But their companies are forcing them because, we need to adopt the AI or we're going to lose against our competitor because everybody's using AI. Abilene Paradox, my first video, go visit. And the young developers that they haven't built anything themselves, they see it like, oh, I need to go here, right? I need to use this. This is, and they're bullied their way into this nonsense, into this thing that doesn't exist and will not exist. I mean, could it exist? Yeah, maybe there's a breakthrough tomorrow or never. You cannot plan. Again, we can be able to turn led into gold sometime, but should you invest in that? I don't think so. This is the same thing, the alchemy. Now, with bullies, there's two things that you can do. You can stand, you can fight, or you can surrender. And people in mass are surrendering to AI. What is the offering? What is the sacrifice? The sacrifice is your career, is your voice, is eventually your mind, and even if you don't notice, is the economy. And I have plenty of other videos talking about, all the things, all the problems, the AI inbred, the socialism of knowledge, and many, many other issues with AI. But it's not just that. You have to become a missionary, an evangelist. You have to adopt the name of the God. Where? Well, in LinkedIn. Go there. Look, everybody that put AI. Well, replace AI with the bully God. Bully God specialist. Helping people develop bully God solutions. They are just changing who they are with this idea. What's the immediate salvation that they expect from the AI? Oh, I will be spared during the day of downsizing. The great day of downsizing. It's not the judgment day anymore, when everybody will be fired from the company. But hey, I'm a friend of the AI. I know AI. And they lie to themselves. I mean, you talk to these people and they're really struggling. They acting in fear, but they can't admit that. So what they would say is, oh no, I just use AI because it's convenient, it's fast, it increased my productivity 10 times. Yeah, right. I can leave it whenever I want. I'm in charge. You're not. And you're sacrificing your skills, because every minute that you spend babysitting an AI instead of writing code and learning and practicing, your skills are fading. And you will be fulfilling the prophecy that the AI is going to replace you. But it's going to replace you not because the AI is better than you, it's because eventually you will be worse than the AI. And the most ridiculous part is that the AI itself will become worse and worse with time, because Stack Overflow is gone. People used to go, if you don't know what Stack Overflow is, it's the place where you will go with questions about code, and other people will answer those questions. So when you are trying to solve something and you don't know how to solve it, you will go to Stack Overflow, look for questions, queries, and you will find somebody that did something similar, and you will study that and implement it. Right? It was a way to it has moderation, and people got mad because their question was not, whatever, all those issues. But the AI went and stole all of that. So nobody's going to Stack Overflow anymore. Why would you, if you can ask Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT, whatever other crap, and we'll give it for free? But they didn't create it, the socialism of knowledge. Who's going to be populating the next iteration of code, of solutions? Nobody. Why would you? So the AI will be trained on the previous AI, and people say, oh no, but we're going to be able to generate synthetic data. The synthetic data, I mean, data science 101, you don't train a model on fake data or on data from other model, because you are, inbreeding, and you are creating crappier and crappier versions of the models. But people tend to ignore that because the high priests are saying so. And you're so afraid, right? So I just wanted to finish with a few quotes that I found interesting. I'm sorry I didn't copy them because there were way too many. But in some case, somebody was arguing that, oh, if you hate the tool, I say, I don't hate the tool. I record the videos explaining how I think the LLMs are really cool. are interesting. I think they solve a very interesting problem, but they're not what they're telling us that they are. They're not intelligent. They will never be. It's not about scaling. It's, But then I say, I don't, it's not that I hate the tool. I don't need it. I don't want it because I have a better tool. It's called Brain. And I put trademark, right? So this person replied, let me read it for you. Said, your brain, trademark, is great. It just doesn't scale to millions of concurrent interactions, long horizon memory, or continuous decision pressure. AI isn't used because humans can't think. It's used because modern systems exceed individual cognitive bandwidth. This isn't about replacing thinking. It's about extending it responsibly at scale. So first of all, I know that an LLM wrote this. Why? Because the last part, when they said A is not B, C is. That's the preferred empty wisdom phrasing for AIs. And go and look at it and you'll find it all the way. But the ridiculous thing is, says, okay, that is what you're going towards. All our minds will be connected together because none of us can process everything. Right? And the AI are the ones who are going to simplify the world so our little stupid brains can handle the cognitive load? Count me out from your utopia. I'd rather go live in the mountains, right? It's ridiculous. It's really ridiculous what these prophets or evangelizers of AI. But this is another one. The guy obviously wrote the post using an LLM, and let me read one part that was close to the end. It says, used this way, AI isn't an oracle or a threat. It's a thinking environment, one that rewards discipline, clarity, and humility. In the comments, say, rewarding humility. AI is going to reward my humility. That's interesting, but interesting BS. And the person said, oh, I don't know why you say that. Where do you get the idea about humility? I say, it's in your text. I said, yeah, it's about intellectual humility. I said, no, it doesn't say anything about intellectual humility. Have you read what you asked the LLM to write? Because it's there. So they don't even take the time to read what they're posting. They just gave their voice to LLM, to the bully god. What is going to happen? When your voice is gone, your mind is next. People who say, this is not my voice, but these are my ideas. I say, are you sure? For how long? You're not even reading. So, this book is like those magicians, those videos in YouTube where you have somebody performing a magic trick and then somebody comes and push them out and show how the trick is done. This is this book. Alessandro is great at that. So that reminds me of, that famous phrase in The Wizard of Oz. It says, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Because the wizard has to maintain, that illusion. But it won't work if you don't read it. It won't work if you summarize it using AI. It's the Matrix. We're given the opportunity. Which pill are we going to take? I'm not a fan of The Office like some other people. I watch a few episodes, and I remember one where I think it's Dwight is his name, that they make this elaborated prank about the Matrix, and they offer him and he chooses to stay in the Matrix, and the person says, what? Because that kind of ruined the rest of the prank. I say, yeah, why would I leave? I have a good job, I have a good... So he started pointing all the conveniences of living in the matrix, all the conveniences of worship the bully God, the salvation through technology. Have we crossed the point of no return? Have you crossed the point of no return? I don't have the answer. I hope you do. So that will be for this one. Thank you for staying with me. I hope you learned something. I hope it triggered something in you and you make the changes that you believe you should make. So we stop worshiping this false idol. And see you in the next one. Bye-bye.